Chamber honored Mr. Patrick Duffy. Patrick. In 1999, our mayor, Mr. Raymond Resort, was the Citizen of the Year. Mayor? In 2001, we were proud to honor Mr. Bradford Cook. Please put your hands together now for our 2004 Citizen of the Year, Ms. Clara Monier. 2005, our Citizen of the Year, Mayor Robert Baines. Mayor. In 2006, our Citizen of the Year was Harry Brensinger. Welcome, Mayor. Please now welcome our 2008 Citizen of the Year, Mr. Brian Tremblay. And next, our 2009 Citizen of the Year, Dick Anagnost. Who can forget that speech in 2012 from our Citizen of the Year, Joseph Riley? Now please welcome our 2013 Citizen of the Year, Mr. Arthur Sullivan. And please put your hands together for our 2014 Citizen of the Year, Ms. Ellie Cochran. Will our 2015 Citizen of the Year come on down, Mr. Andy Cruz. And from 2017, our Citizen of the Year, Ms. Diane Mercier. And last but not least tonight, please give a rousing applause for our 2017 Citizen of the Year, Ms. Maureen Beauregard. Ladies and gentlemen, your Greater Manchester Chamber's past Citizens of the Year. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please stand and welcome Alex and Jamie Roy from the Palace Theater for the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Welcome and thank you so much for being here. Your support tonight means so much to the Chamber. Tonight is all about celebration, and we are honored to recognize our next Citizen of the Year this evening. He's a leader of integrity, compassion, and community impact. And I think every nonprofit leader who has had him as a board member will tell you the same thing. He's amazing, and he made us better. Friends, please join me in the first of many rounds of applause to recognize our next Citizen of the Year, Mr. Michael Leckbeer. Mike, we have a great presentation for you this evening, and I can't wait to share with you. But before we get to dinner, and before we get to that presentation, I want to share with you all what the Chamber's been up to. I also know how excited all of you are to talk and network with your friends here tonight. You may remember last year, for those who were here last year, I did a full Chamber year in review in 60 seconds. So this year I'm going to try and top that. And no, I'm not going to do it in 30 seconds. So to get you back to networking as soon as possible, I'm going to give you the full Chamber year in review in just 10 numbers. We assisted, facilitated, supported 50 business expansions, relocations, ribbon cuttings through our economic development work. We monitored, tracked, and advocated on more than 150 pieces of legislation in support of pro-business policies. We have more than 400 members volunteering to serve on Chamber committees tackling important community issues. We provided more than 300 Manchester school teachers from all 22 schools with workforce development training as part of our educator leadership program. We're also a proud supporter of Manchester Proud, one of our best partnerships going this year you'll hear more about later tonight. We added 40 new graduates to the 1,000 plus alumni of Leadership Greater Manchester. We engaged more than 7,000 attendees over the course of 100 plus Chamber programs and educational events. We developed one new strategic plan, mission and vision for the Manchester Young Professional Network, which is the Chamber's initiative to attract and retain young professionals to our workforce. And then finally, we launched one new brand identity and marketing project, the first of its kind for the Chamber in nearly 20 years. And it's on that note that I'm really excited tonight to give you a sneak peek at our new brand and where this project is taking your Chamber. This is truly a special treat and has never been shared before publicly until right now. So I'm going to share with you where we've been, where we are now, and most importantly, where we're going. So where we've been, in the 108-year history of your Chamber, believe it or not, we have had a grand total of 5 brand identities. Up on the screen from 1911 to 2002, here's what we've looked like. That means we've changed roughly every 15 to 20 years, which is not nearly enough for an organization that represents a dynamic business community. So where are we now? We've been in the same place for 17 years. And I'm sure this is familiar to all of you. This has been our identity for one form and another for nearly 2 decades, and it's served us well. But it's time for a change. And so I want to show you we are changing, and our community and our Chamber has evolved significantly over the last several years. And that's why we felt that now is the time to change. We needed a new identity that speaks to that change and represents the big, bold mission we exist for, which is to shape the economic success of our region. Simply put, we need a new identity that went beyond what we are and spoke to why we exist, the big ideas we represent, the role we play in setting a vision and moving our community forward. So, where are we going? You can now see it up on the screen. Our new identity represents transformation, impact, moving forward. It's modern, it's fresh, it's fearless. They're all attributes that our organization has evolved to encompass or we aspire to. What we call our new Spring M logo, it's bold, it's also bright orange, and that's by design. It represents our mission and purpose to see the big picture and set bold, audacious goals for what our community can and should be. You may also notice how our name is presented. It's a little bit shorter than usual. Greater Manchester Chamber is what the vast majority of our community knows and refers to us as, and we're embracing that. The Chamber is a term that universally represents an organization where like-minded individuals come together to strengthen their community, and that vital role is more important than ever. This new identity was informed and guided by our new mission and vision. These new guiding principles better capture the why the Chamber exists. Our mission: we are the voice of business, shaping economic success to enhance the quality of life in Greater Manchester. And our vision is that Greater Manchester is a vibrant and prosperous destination for business and people. A new brand identity requires a new tagline, too. And as with our logo, we're thinking big. Boldly Going represents our belief and attitude for how we approach our mission. It's an attitude that is grounded in our commitment to setting big goals and a positive, forward-looking vision for our community. So starting tomorrow, you'll see this new identity take over everything that we do, from our emails, our website, our social media posts, to even our chamber office. And while these changes will be fun, new, and exciting, continuing to have the support of the business and community leaders in this room is the most important element to our success. So I want to thank you all for standing behind the Chamber in this exciting new identity. We believe this effort will ultimately transform our ability to serve you, our community, and our mission. And on behalf of your Chamber team, we're excited to share this journey with you over the next few months. And believe me when I tell you, there's so much more to come, and we are very, very excited. So in closing, I want to share a few very important thank yous. My thanks to our outstanding board of directors for their leadership and service and their work to make our community better. A very special thanks to our board leadership team, Chairman Preston Hunter, Vice Chair Nathan Saller. Just the incredible leadership and support we have at the board level really allows us staff to do what we're able to do. I'm incredibly grateful for it. Next, a huge thanks to our amazing Chamber team, our Chamber staff. Nothing our organization does would be possible without their hard work and dedication, particularly big events like tonight. And I have to say that the most prideful part of my job is how often people in the community come up to me and tell me how great our Chamber team is. And it is so true, and it's the best part of what I get to do every day. So please join me in thanking our Chamber staff for all they do. And finally, we are so fortunate to have an amazing chair of this year's dinner. Events like this take leadership, and I want to provide my thanks to Ellie Cochran for all her efforts to make tonight so special for our honoree, Mike, but also a huge success for the Chamber. So to recognize and thank our sponsors, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our 2014 Citizen of the Year and Chair of the 2019 Chamber Annual Dinner, Miss Ellie Cochran.
Boy, I wish I had known that the new color was orange, because I have a really great orange outfit I could have worn. But good evening, and thank you for your support of the Chamber and our honoree, Mike Leckwire. As a past Citizen of the Year, it's been my pleasure to serve as the chair of this event and celebrate Mike and the work of the Chamber. The Chamber continues to do incredible work, along with developing strong partnerships within the community to make a true difference in the future of our region. As Mike shared, one of those key partnerships that I'm excited to share more about this evening is Manchester Proud. I've been a member of the Champions Council of this grassroots effort, thanks to Arthur Sullivan, since our work began a year ago, along with 4 other past Citizens of the Year, Chamber board members, and engaged citizens. As a council member, I share with great confidence that Manchester Proud is making exciting strides in working collaboratively to develop an action plan for Manchester schools. So to learn a little bit more about our efforts, please turn your attention to this short video.
Imagine our Manchester when we're grown up. A Manchester where,
by supporting each other,
we all have opportunities to thrive,
where neighborhoods are safe and welcoming,
where we can attract
and employ top talent,
because of the reputation of our schools,
where all children
and families feel like they belong,
where our homes increase in value because young people want to live here,
where our teachers have the resources they need to support each and every student.
This vision starts with public education,
with schools where every child has ways to discover their passion and potential. Together, we will be ready for the possibilities of our future, and our schools will be at the heart of it.
Now is the time for us all to be
Manchester proud!
Thank you. To learn more about Manchester Proud, check out the ad in your program and visit our website to get involved. I look forward to working with you. It's really been an amazing experience. So back to Mike. This event celebrating Mike would not be possible without generous support from our sponsors, and I want to take a moment to thank those that have made this evening possible. We had an amazing event committee of volunteers that helped plan this event. Bob O'Sullivan, Don Wren, Jake Bouchard, and Kristen Rem from Spectrum Marketing, Kent Rich, Granite River Studio, and from Tim Messina, Donald Van Slyke, and team from Events United. As Mike mentioned, this event is the Chamber's largest fundraiser, and without the support of our sponsors, tonight would not be possible. So at this point, I'd like to personally recognize and thank our major sponsors, and you know the drill, hold your applause till the end. So a huge thank you to our sponsors, Eastern Bank, the cocktail reception sponsor, and how appropriate, Bellwether Community Credit Union. Past Citizen of the Year reception sponsor, Eversource Energy. Our dessert reception sponsor, Auto Fair and Past Citizen of the Year, Andy Cruz. Table setting sponsors, Infinite Equities. Champagne Toast sponsor, Brady Sullivan Properties and Past Citizen of the Year, Arthur Sullivan. The entrance sponsor, Oracle. Print and design sponsor, Spectrum Marketing, who also created the amazing centerpieces at each of your table. They're really kind of unique. So let's have a round of applause for these sponsors. Our audio-visual sponsor is Events United. The video production partner is Granite River Studios. Our wine sponsor again is LaBelle Winery. The main course sponsor is Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare. The centerpiece sponsor, St. Mary's Bank. Registration sponsors, Bank of America and Dartmouth Hitchcock. The program sponsor, Whipley, Howe, Riley, and Howe. That's a new name, so remember that, Whipley. The social sponsor, People's United Bank and Past Citizen of the Year, Diane Mercier. Don't forget to use those selfie sticks and tag your photos with the hashtag ManchesterCOY. Can't wait to try mine. Anyway, Past Citizen of the Year, parade sponsor, UNH Manchester. Don't start doing it yet, I'm not done up here, hang on. Photo booth sponsor, Great New Hampshire Restaurants, and you can check that out downstairs when you go for dessert. The hospitality sponsor, Corporate Crossroads. The video sponsors, Catholic Medical Center, MBT Bank, and TD Bank. Now, if you don't settle down, I'm going to have to whistle, and you don't want me to do that. So, thanks again to these major sponsors to make this event possible. Let's give them a round of applause. And we have the corporate sponsors that I'd like to recognize. Hold your applause. Citizens Bank, Doubletree Hotel, and isn't this transformation great? Elliott Health Systems, Hinckley Allen, Janine and Company, LaValle Brenzinger and past Citizen of the Year, Barry Brenzinger, Liberty Utilities, McLean Middleton and past Citizen of the Year, Jack Middleton, Northeast Delta Dental, Sheehan Finney and past Citizen of the Year, Brad Cook, and Southern New Hampshire University. Thank you so much to our corporate sponsors. Again, we thank all of our sponsors, including our table gift celebration sponsors that you see on the screen now. Please check your program as we thank these sponsors for their support this evening. Finally, once again, a huge thank you to our presenting sponsor, Eastern Bank. Please join me in welcoming Bob Rivers, Chairman and CEO of Eastern Bank, to say a few words.
Well, thank you, Ellie, for that introduction. Congratulations on obviously another very successful event. Good evening to all of you. First of all, I want to say, Mike, thank you so much for your leadership in the Greater Manchester community and for your support of a positive climate here for business. Also, as a company that recently added orange to their logo, I congratulate you on the choice. I love it. And as you probably know, it's a great online color as well, so nicely done. Many thanks also to the past Citizen of the Year honorees for your legacy and the example that you set for each of us. Again, congratulations and thank you. So, we at Eastern are grateful to have this opportunity once again this year to be the presenting sponsor of this distinguished award and to participate in tonight's program. Eastern is now in the midst of our 5th year with a full-service banking presence in New Hampshire, which was made possible by our partnership with David Cassidy and his team at Centrix Bank and Trust. Through David's leadership and the hard work of the entire team, our business here has increased by almost 40%. Congratulations. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. As many of you probably know, volunteerism, philanthropy, and advocacy are the pillars upon which Eastern furthers our mission, knowing that a community bank, we are only as strong as the communities we serve. And in turn, a successful growing business provides greater resources and energy to deliver an increasingly positive impact, creating a virtuous circle. Although it often gets overlooked in today's rhetoric, business is indeed a force for good. In addition to representing the greatest source of job growth and innovation, fueling economic activity, many businesses give back through charitable donations and the volunteerism of their employees to many community organizations in need of resources. And a rising number of business leaders are personally engaged in helping to address society's most vexing challenges. Mike, our honoree, you are just that kind of engaged leader. We are inspired by your example and are truly privileged to be here this evening to celebrate your many contributions to make Southern New Hampshire a better place. Thank you and congratulations.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome the Mayor of the City of Manchester, Mayor Joyce Frank.
Good evening. It's such a pleasure to be here with all of you, and it's wonderful to see so many people here tonight as we celebrate and honor Mike Lequier. I'm grateful to be in a room full of people who are focused on working together to position Manchester for a brighter future. There are so many people across this city who want to help and who are dedicated to creating positive change, which brings me to Mike. He is an outstanding professional, mentor, teacher, colleague, and friend. Under Mike's enthusiastic leadership, Bellwether Community Credit Union increased its membership by 25,000 people, increased their assets from $197 million to $500 million, and doubled the number of employees. Mike's work outside the credit union is equally as impressive. He gives an incredible amount of time to local community organizations, and as anyone who has worked with Mike can attest, he is a collaborative civic leader. He serves unselfishly in many community endeavors, including holding posts as past chairman of the New Hampshire Go Red for Women, the Greater Manchester Chamber. Notice I didn't say of Commerce. He's a strong supporter of City Year and chair of the New Hampshire Business Committee on the Arts, and so many more. Mike leads by example, sets the tone, and encourages unity. This is exhibited most recently by Bellwether's 10-year financial commitment to the Rex Theatre, a true public-private partnership that will contribute greatly to the greater Manchester community. He gives his time without reservation. He's dedicated to the growth and development of our community and creating a sense of pride for all. You know, I spoke to a number of people about Mike, and there was consistency in the words used to describe him: kind, thoughtful, generous, understanding, a problem solver, and a leader. He has compassion and commitment for creating opportunities, and he's a tireless advocate for volunteerism in our community. I want to thank you, Mike, for your tremendous impact that you've had on our community, and I'm proud to issue the following proclamation. The City of Manchester, a resolution, be it known that the Office of the Mayor extends its congratulations to Michael Lequier in recognition of being named Greater Manchester Chamber of Commerce Citizen of the Year. And be it further known that the Office of the Mayor extends its best wishes for continued success. Congratulations.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy your dinner. Our program will resume in 20 minutes.
Good evening, everyone. Hopefully you've all had a chance to take a selfie with our bright orange Spring M logo that's been making its way around the room tonight. This is an exciting time for the Chamber, and I'm happy to report that the organization is just as strong and vibrant as our new orange logo. In 2018, our membership numbers continue to climb year over year. More members are increasing their investment in the Chamber, and last year, 24 members chose to go up a membership tier, nearly doubling our budgeted goal. Over 200 members chose to voluntarily overpay their annual membership dues, and last year our membership retention numbers hit an all-time high. All of this good news is evidence that your Chamber is boldly going, and I think the business community likes where we're headed. The strong financial health of your Chamber also allows us to deepen our investment in the areas that matter most to our members, like growing the pool of young professional workers in the area. Last year, we completed the transition of bringing the Manchester Young Professionals Network on as an official program of the Manchester Chamber. And MYPN is poised to have a really big year. Armed with a new strategic plan and a refocused mission, MYPN Advisory Board is boldly going forward with new programs for 2019, like Adulting 101 and Fast Forward Labs. Earlier this year, MYPN members worked with the Great North Ale Works to create a first ever signature MYPN beer, the Queen City Quencher. I'm sorry that tonight we don't have any Queen City Quencher because it sold out in 2 days. So clearly the word is out that MYPN is where it's happening, and if your young professionals and your organizations are not plugged into MYPN, then they may be missing out. And this year we've also expanded the MYPN corporate sponsorships and memberships. So if your company is not getting in front of Manchester's emerging leaders, you may also be missing out. We also know that the strength and reputation of an area's schools can be an important factor for professionals with young families who are looking to relocate for a new job. Chamber leadership has continued to deepen our engagement with the Manchester School District. Last year, we held our third annual Educator Leadership Summit, and the Greater Manchester Chamber was the first organization to both publicly endorse and financially support Manchester Proud. Chamber CEO Mike Skelton has been working very closely with Manchester Proud organizers to identify positive solutions for Manchester schools, and you can expect to see Mike continue to advocate for the recommendations of the upcoming report for the years to come. These are just some of the ways that we are working to make the Greater Manchester area a vibrant and prosperous destination for business and people. In 2019 and beyond, we will continue to be the voice of business, shaping economic success to enhance the quality of life in the Greater Manchester area. As we continue boldly going, we are fortunate to have a fantastic chamber staff led by a talented chamber CEO and backed up by a dedicated board of directors. We know making change happen is hard, and it takes more than great organizations like the Chamber. It takes leadership, sometimes leadership from an individual. And tonight we are here to honor a leader and former board chairman who has truly gone above and beyond to shape our community and make positive change happen through his devotion to community service. So at this time, I ask that you please turn your attention to the screens for a special tribute to our Citizen of the Year, Michael Lequier.
I met Mike 19 or 20 years ago when he had just started and I had just taken over the Palace. At the time, the Palace Theater was shut down, bankrupt, and the goal with many downtown business owners was to reopen it. And Mike was brand new to the city, and he and I instantly hit it off. A wonderful, positive spirit, which I loved.
I met Mike when he first came to Manchester, and that was in 1998, and he came to work here as a vice president at the Bellwether Community Credit Union, and we're always looking for new leaders coming into town, and he was one of the first that came in. We got a chance to meet him and test his potential for leadership.
I met Mike through my girlfriend and her husband. I had just broken up with a boyfriend of 10 years, did not want to meet anybody. And I met Mike, and he was so outgoing. Later that week, we went to a limousine scavenger hunt. And at the end of the night, Michael had said, "Oh, Sue, like Franny and Michelle, I'm taking them to lunch. Why don't you join me?" And I worked out of town, and I said, "Oh, I can't." And so he very fast said, "Oh, they can't make dinner, so what time should I pick you up?"
Michael's a relationship builder. Michael meets people and you're immediately attracted to him. He's genuine. He's got a tremendous sense of enthusiasm, and enthusiasm's contagious. And I think for him, that's been a propellant in the community, is how he treats everyone around him regardless of who you are or what you do for a living.
He has really kind of inspired a ripple effect through the community, not only for Make-A-Wish, but for other organizations, really inspiring people to get involved, to give back to their community on many different levels.
He had a nature about him that I found so unique compared to a lot of other CEOs out there. He was so approachable and willing to help. It set him apart in my eyes immediately from a lot of others out there.
He had a commitment to making a difference and to making whatever he touched better than it was before. And I think Mike kind of leaves an organization always better than when he found it.
Oh, he's a wonderful person, honest as the day is long, incredibly smart, a collaborator of the highest level in town.
You know, in my role, I meet so many people within the community, and it really takes a special type of person to inspire back. and to inspire others. And that's really what I think about when I think about Mike.
His notion is not to get his name listed or to enlarge his biography, but it's to truly make a commitment to whatever cause he gets involved in.
He's very free and easy to talk to. Sometimes that CEO president title makes people stuffy. It's never been the case with Michael.
Every time we sit down, the focus of the conversation is how I'm doing and what challenges I'm facing and what the chamber's working on. And he's genuinely interested in learning and then what he can do to help.
He really is there for people in general, and he's always been there for me. And a friend is someone that seems to be in your court no matter what. And Mike is one of those people for me.
I think my favorite thing about my dad is his sense of humor. Most people get to see a little bit of it, but I get to see it every day. And we're very similar, so we like to poke fun at each other every once in a while, tease each other. He likes to make fun of my hair and how long it takes for me to do it, but
I think his biggest success is his daughter. Mike received his master's degree just before he turned 50 years old. And he was studying at night while working full-time, and his daughter got to see how much work he put into studying. She saw how hard Dad tried, and Mike got all A's, 1 B+, and to this day he will tell you that the professor was wrong. And for some reason, Christy is that same way. She has graduated with a 4.0, and I think that her father instilled that on her.
When I first heard Michael was going to be the Citizen of the Year, I thought, fantastic, but overdue. There's so many great people in Manchester. I thought perhaps a couple years ago, but I was overjoyed.
Our Citizen of the Year award for Manchester is really a state of New Hampshire award for Mike, because he's made such a difference in the state at the same time.
We had a saying in high school, not for oneself, but for all. And I think that characterizes Mike and his attitude about things, that he's working not for the good of Mike, but for the common good of whatever organization he's volunteering to work for.
he doesn't really ask for recognition, and nor does he want it, meaning to say he doesn't think that's what's important. I think he realizes that the community is part of all of us, and that if he were just part of a credit union that ignored the community, then that wouldn't be something he would want to be a part of.
And Mike has spent sort of his life finding out what other people need and responding to those needs, because what I want may not be what you want. So my job and his job, and I think he does that extremely well, is what do other people need to be successful? And then he makes it his responsibility to try to help them achieve that success.
Michael's very much appreciated as a person, not as a CEO or as a president, but as the whole person, as to what he brings to the equation.
I would like Mike to know how much his family appreciates him, how proud we are of him, how supportive we are of him, and how supportive we know he's been to us. And we love him very much.
I want him to know that I love him and that I really care about him, and that I'm so lucky to have a dad that does so much for the community and really opens my eyes to see that in this world I'm not just me, and I can be so much more if I put my mind to it. He's a living example. Don't cry, Mom.
Mike, on behalf of the Chamber, we are so honored to have you as our next Citizen of the Year. Your contributions to our community are amazing, and we are so proud to recognize you and the example you have set for so many other business leaders and community leaders, and we look forward to celebrating with you tonight, recognizing your efforts, and thank you for all that you've done for Manchester, for the Chamber, and for our business community.
If you don't know my dad and you want to get to know him, I think it's worth making a conversation with him, because not only will it make your day, but it'll make his.
thank you for that welcome. That was wonderful. It is my honor to be one of the two speakers tonight to share some insights into this year's Citizen of the Year, Mike Lequier. Tonight, I'd like to shine a spotlight on Mike and his passion for his community. And I'm going to do that through telling you a story about Mike. So the story begins with the first time that I met Mike. Okay, now this might sound odd, but I actually met Mike for the first time twice. Once in the distant past, and once more recently. So stay with me, okay? It'll all become more clear as the story progresses. So although my meetings of Mike occurred over 20 years apart, they have a common theme that describes Mike to a T: caring about his community, giving everyone the opportunity to succeed, commitment above and beyond what is asked. And perhaps the most common thread of our encounters have centered around the arts, the creative economy, and Mike's commitment to bringing life-changing art and music experiences to kids in need. Okay, now it's time to sort out the meetings of Mike. I'll start with the second time I met Mike, even though I thought it was the first time. Okay, here we go. So as many of you know in the room, I had the pleasure of being the CEO of Manchester Community Music School for 10 years. The school's mission is a big one: changing lives through the power of music. And in order to do that, we need the support of everyone in the community. And so begins the second time I met Mike. So I had heard about Mike and Bellwether Community Credit Union, but I didn't know him. Not being one to leave a stone unturned, I tried to find someone who did, and luckily someone on my board, Colette Jernak, knew Mike, and she got in touch with him and set up a meeting for us to meet with Mike and his contributions committee. So we came into the conference room at Bellwether Community Credit Union, and I met Mike and his team for the first time, or so I thought. As the meeting progressed, we talked about the music school, the mission, the capital campaign, how we would steward their dollars, you know, all those things you talk about in a fundraising visit. Everything was going great. And then Mike turned to me and started to ask me some extremely detailed questions about the music school. Now, these are questions that most people don't know to ask. So I was really curious. So I said to Mike, I'm happy to answer these questions, but I'm surprised you're asking them. Why do you know this information? And so Mike said just casually, oh, I was on a community music school board years ago. Well, as you can imagine, I don't hear this very often. So I was very curious, and I said, Mike, so where were you on this board? And he said, oh, it was back in Worcester when I was with a bank there. So my antenna go up a little bit more, and I said, Mike, I grew up in Worcester. What was the name of the community music school? And Mike said it was the Performing Arts School of Worcester, otherwise known as PASAO. Well, that was my music school that I went to when I was a child and in high school. So we figured out that Mike and I were there at the same time. I was there in middle school and high school, and Mike was on the board at the same time. That's right, that's right. I'll let you do the math on that, okay? So the meeting went on at Bellwether. We kept talking about PASAO, the Performing Arts School of Worcester, and Mike was describing how there were some challenges with leadership when he was on the board. And so the board decided to really get involved with, to understand the everyday runnings of the school. So they took turns and took different assignments of learning the ins and outs of things like financial aid, scheduling recitals, working the reception desk. Now let me just set the stage for the community music school for PASAO. It was a very artsy place. So faculty members would come in jeans, we had a large dance program, and so there would be dance teachers and their dance wear all day. So, you know, you get the vibe, nice and relaxed. So as I did pretty much most days after school, I got on the bus and I went to Passau for a chamber music ensemble or for a lesson. So I walked into the lobby, which is where I did my homework and where the reception desk was. And there was a person sitting at the reception desk that just seemed a little out of place. So I did my thing and just kind of watched, and I went home that night and I said to my mom, I said, Mom, there was a guy at the reception desk at Passau today in a suit. And let me tell you, it was kind of creepy. And when I told Mike that at the meeting at Bellwether, he looked at me and he said, "That's me. I'm the creepy guy in the suit." So that was the first time that I met Mike all those years ago. The second time was in the conference room at Bellwether Community Credit Union, asking for a gift for the Manchester Community Music School. Some of you had heard me say this before, but growing up, my community music school, Passau, really made me into the person that I am today. Having grown up with very little resources in a dangerous neighborhood, music was my salvation. Instead of being in a gang, I was playing in a chamber music ensemble. Instead of picking up a needle, I picked up a clarinet. And believe me, the opportunities to take the wrong path presented themselves frequently. But because I was able to go to Passau on a nearly full scholarship for 6 years, I was surrounded by mentorship, by support, by caring, and safety. And that all happened because Mike cared and was on the board of that music school. Well, little did Mike know that he was cultivating someone who would repeatedly come in and ask him for sponsorships and gifts throughout his career at Bellwether. But aren't you glad, Mike? I am. Well, as you can imagine, Mike and Bellwether gave a very generous gift to the Capital campaign. And as a matter of fact, he said yes to something else that I asked him to do, and you saw some pictures of it in this video. So in 2013, the music school decided to spice up our annual gala and made the theme Dancing with the Stars. Mike was the first person I asked to participate as a dancer, as a contestant, and so he said yes. I was so excited. Mike competed mightily against 3 other contestants. He danced to It Had to Be You, and he won the very first Mirrorball trophy. Yeah! It's a big deal. And that's a true art supporter in every sense of the word, don't you think? You know, since that, my second meeting of Mike, I've had so many occasions to interact with him. And every time I've called Mike to ask for anything, whether it's said, come and see a child at a recital, sponsor an event, please volunteer, I really need your advice, which was often, the answer is always yes. And today, in my work with my clients, Mike's answer is always yes. Or, hey, I've been thinking about this issue you've been having, and I have an idea. Can I talk to you about it? He is always thinking about other people. Mike and Bellwether have generously supported so many organizations in our community with their time, their talent, and their treasure. I'd just like to name a few, and these are just a few. The Manchester Community Music School, the Boys and Girls Club of Manchester, Families in Transition's New Horizons, City Year, the Moore Center, March of Dimes, Make-A-Wish, New Hampshire Business Committee on the Arts, New Hampshire Center for Nonprofits, and most recently with a very significant gift to the Palace Theater. And that's Mike, isn't it? He's always there. He's always willing. He's always championing the work of our community's great nonprofits. Well, Mike, tonight it's our turn to champion you. As I close my remarks and open the floor to our next speaker, I'd like to leave you all with a reference to the arts in honor of Mike. In the musical Wicked, there is a song entitled For Good. Some of those lyrics seem extremely appropriate for you, Mike. Because I knew you, because we knew you, we have been changed for good. Congratulations, Mike.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the President and COO of Bellwether Community Credit Union, Nathan Sal, to the stage.
It's an absolute honor for me to get up and talk about someone that I've known for over the last 20 years. I first met Mike Lequier when he came to work for Bellwether Community Credit Union in 1998. I vividly remember the day when he invited me into his office to get to know me. He told me about his career, his management philosophy, his family, and if you know Mike, he was talking a mile a minute using both of his hands. At that point, I was very young in my career. I remember just wondering if I should be taking some notes, but not sure I could write that fast even if I tried. That day was my introduction to Mike's energy, passion, and enthusiasm. I had no idea that over the next 20 years, by working alongside him, I'd get an exceptional education on leadership, collaboration, caring about people, and giving back. As I began to prepare my remarks for tonight, I reread the more than 24 letters that were sent to me as I assembled Mike's nomination for Citizen of the Year. Over and over in those letters, I saw people describe Mike in words that fit him to a T. Words like passionate, tireless, personal, caring, warm, humble, engaged, proactive, insightful, and supportive. I hope the writers of those letters don't mind, but I've worked some of their words into my comments tonight. Mike has a collaborative approach to leadership. He facilitates a sense of partnership, not hierarchy. He is respectful and involves others in decision making. Mike's leadership style is inspirational. He's someone you want to work incredibly hard for. Mike has a unique way of pushing you to do your best while empowering you to reach new levels. He sees potential in other people. Early on in my career, he saw potential in me that I didn't see in myself. As a leader, he genuinely cares about others and wants to see them succeed. I know Mike is extremely proud of the credit union being named a 5-time Best Company to Work For and 2-time Hall of Fame member by Business New Hampshire magazine, among other awards. For those companies that have participated, know part of the application process involves an engagement survey that goes out to your employees. Over 90% of Bellwether's employees answered that they agreed with statements such as management is trusted and management practices what they preach. This trust and commitment is a testament to the culture Mike has instilled at Bellwether. Mike's leadership extends into his volunteer work. As a board member or volunteer, he becomes immediately engaged, offering insight and clarity on strategic issues. In leadership roles, he solicits participation and opinions and welcomes a diversity of thought, while keeping the organization's mission and mind in focus. Mike is a consensus builder. He has an absolutely amazing talent of taking disparate views on a topic and bringing lucidity to all aspects of a discussion, engaging everyone at the table while moving conversations forward to actionable results. If you know Mike, you also know he's very quick-witted and has a great sense of humor. As soon as he steps into a room, the mood lightens. He uses humor to build relationships and build bridges. Mike's humor is also often self-deprecating, often involving topics such as the creative golf shot he had to take out to get out of a bunker, the woods, an adjacent fairway. You get the idea. Or his need for a new prop after hitting a rock just yards from shore during the maiden voyage of his new boat. I have seen Mike use his wit strategically by putting others at ease or cutting through the tension in a room during a difficult discussion, enabling a group to move forward and have a productive conversation about the issues. As you've heard tonight, Mike has an incredible passion for civic involvement. Mike believes at his core that he can make his community a better place by getting actively involved. For years, I used to help Mike's administrative assistant, Janine, try to keep his bio up to date. As Janine can attest, it was impossible. We'd think we were on top of it, only for Mike to let us know that he'd been invited to fundraise for another organization or had become the chair of a board it seemed like he had only recently joined. Over the years, I saw him not miss a beat in his day job while personally fundraising for multi-million-dollar capital campaigns, leading searches for new executive directors, or providing leadership and stability for nonprofits in the midst of challenging circumstances. His enthusiasm for community service has been inspirational. Mike has championed this mission. The credit union's 90 employees spend upwards of 2,500 to 3,000 volunteer hours a year serving nonprofits. He encourages each member of our team to find causes we are passionate about so we can serve with the same dedication that he does. He instituted a paid time off benefit so employees can have an additional incentive to get involved. When the credit union changed its name, I believe it was Mike who first suggested the word community be in Bellwether's name. One of his nomination letters put it best. Mike is a shining example of a business leader doing good things for the right reasons. When you work for someone daily over a 20-year period, you get to know them pretty well. You also get to see how they operate when things are going well, but also under stress and when the pressure's on. Even under difficult circumstances, I have always seen Mike operate with incredible integrity and transparency. Mike has displayed character and integrity in his interactions with employees, business partners, and the community, and has been a wonderful example to many of what ethical leadership looks like. Mike's definitive character quality is how he treats people. If you've met Mike, you know he has a personal warmth that you can sense as soon as you meet him. As his wife Debbie knows only too well, Mike is never too busy to stop to talk to someone or see how they are doing. Many of you have heard of management by walking around. Mike takes that philosophy to a whole new level. At Bellwether, we call them management drive-bys. The number and velocity of drive-bys are directly correlated to the number of cups of coffee he's had that morning. A typical drive-by involves Mike swooping into your office, catching up on what he needs to know, usually a story or two, all while making you feel valued and important. Mike sees the good in everyone he meets. A quick example. Not surprisingly, we regularly have salespeople come in and present their solutions. I've sat through a number of sales presentations over the years where we quickly realized the solution wasn't a good fit for the credit union at that time. No matter how bad the fit or poor the presentation, after they leave, Mike always seems to find something positive to say about the person, the presentation, or product. Mike genuinely cares about other people and puts others ahead of himself. While certainly ambitious, I've seen countless times Mike make a decision that benefited someone else at his expense. The credit union industry has a motto, people helping people. Although I've never heard Mike utter that phrase about himself, I can't think of words to better describe Mike Lequier, a person dedicated to helping people. Although you wouldn't know this unless you've worked at Bellwether, it's a common sight to see Mike outside in the parking lot with a snow brush in his hand about a half an hour before closing time on days when there's a good old-fashioned New Hampshire nor'easter. New employees often wonder why they come out to a cleaned-off car in the middle of a blizzard. But anyone that works for Bellwether for a little while knows exactly why. As hard as he's worked and volunteered, Mike believes in a balanced life, making quality time for the most important people in his life, his wife Debbie and daughter Christy. He's made that a point in his leadership at Bellwether as well, encouraging me and other employees to work hard while making time for our children, families, and significant others. There are some people who come into your life and make you a better person for having known them. Mike is certainly one of those people for me and for many of you as well. Earlier, I mentioned Mike's sense of humor. Mike and Debbie's daughter, Christy, is an accomplished young woman who just passed the CPA exam while finishing her master's degree. While Christy was growing up, Mike would regularly come in and start a meeting with a hilarious story about the trials, tribulations, or joys of parenting his first and only girl. You can only imagine the stories coming from a proud father whose daughter was clearly the center of his universe. One of my favorites was when Christy was about 5 years old and Mike had just been named the CEO of the credit union. Apparently, 5-year-old Christy was telling everyone she met that her dad was now the boss of the whole city. My recollection is that this went on for a while based on the number of meetings that started with a good laugh after a new installment of the story. Now, I'm not aware of any plans Mike has to campaign for your job, Mayor. That said, I would like Christy and the rest of you to know that while not boss of the city, tonight Mike deservingly earns the title Citizen of the City. It is my honor to introduce to you my mentor, colleague, and friend, and the Greater Manchester Chamber Citizen of the Year, Michael Lecquier.
Wow. The second line here talks about being awkward accepting this, and the awkwardness didn't improve after hearing all of that. It is pretty intimidating, Janine. She throws the age thing in every time she tells that story. I love this story. At least she moved it up to middle school, because I think it might have been a little differently than that. And Nathan, nice work. I want to thank the Chamber. I want to thank the Citizen of the Year Selection Committee. Everybody who supported my nomination. It's an honor to receive this. It truly is. It's an awkward thing, and I've told a bunch of you here this evening that you get an individual award for somebody who's never really accomplished anything on his own. It's a team effort in everything I do, where I work, community service, home. But I realized a lot of people who I respect and care for nominated me for this recognition. I'm here tonight because of opportunity and support provided by a lot of people. So I'm proud to accept this recognition and share it with my family, my colleagues, and community partners. The community partners, I will tell you, the Manchester community, I think it's in my bio, I'm from Central Mass. I moved here in '98. The Manchester community has been very accepting of me and providing opportunities for me to be involved. Moved here in '99, became the CEO in 2001, and I can tell you, and I'm so glad to see Sil in that video, he does an awesome job, that the 1979 Citizen of the Year was one of the first people I met in being introduced to the community. He called on me, apparently being before Janine, it must have had something on my head that said, stop by and Lecquier will give you some money. But he told me the story about the Palace Theater. I was intrigued. Somewhere in that conversation, he figured out that I was involved with Passau. And before I knew it, I was shifting from a development call to a nominating committee call, and I was on the board of the Palace Theater. Sil has been a mentor, a role model, a friend from the day I met him. I'm so glad he's here to enjoy this evening. Apparently he was here before that, given the video. I will tell you this, when the introduction to your city involves Dr. Dupuy and Peter Ramsey, you get a pretty good headway into town. While I was still on the Palace Board, I'd just been on the Palace Board, I had the opportunity to serve on the Chamber Board. And that really was the nexus of everything that I've done in the community here. It created the basis of a network of partners and service, as I like to call it, that's lasted now over 20 years. This network has provided many opportunities to get involved, access to potential resources needed to support missions important to me. Simply said, it's given me a venue to help when and where I could. I've also met some exceptional people, and you've seen some of them here tonight. Many in this room have supported me in the missions that are important to me. I've also had the privilege to support projects that were important to you. I can and have counted on you, and I hope you feel like you can count on me. Some of my closest friends in New Hampshire are people I've served with. These friendships mean a lot to me and Debbie. We're very fortunate to have some very special people in our lives. I often say people who voluntarily serve others are more interesting. They are fun to be around. When community service is fun, how can you go wrong? That is a rhetorical question. You can't go wrong. That was for my daughter. You know, she's got the school thing going, just checking on me. There's another group of community partners I'd like to recognize and thank. That is the not-for-profit professionals in our community. I've been blessed to work with some exceptional people over the years. Too many to list here tonight, but apparently Janine was working to kind of talk about some of the organizations. I had a list, I was starting on it, and every time I drove home, I realized I missed somebody, so I was mortified to miss somebody. But their passion for their mission has been inspiring. Commitment to work with volunteers for a common cause has motivated me and others. They're also pretty good at doing more with less. You work with a non-profit professional and they have to go out and raise the dollar. They're very careful on how they invest that dollar. Their chosen vocation benefits us all, but more often than not, it's the most vulnerable in our community. Thank you all for making the greater Manchester community a better place to live, work, and play. I've been very fortunate to have been the CEO at Bellwether for the last 18 years, been with the company a little over 20 years. Our company is led by a board who are volunteers, who set the mission, vision, values of our credit union to benefit our members. They are an exceptional group of dedicated people, and I can never thank them enough for what they've done for me and my family. You know, they set the goals for management to deliver meaningful value for our members, create and maintain a productive and respectful work environment, and to be a responsible corporate citizen. Everything we do is viewed through one of those three prisms. They have a very high but realistic expectation, and they never set a goal for the credit union without providing the necessary resources to do it right. Silvio will often quote, and I don't know who gave him the quote, so I always give him credit for it, but vision without resources is hallucination. And for those of you, I give him credit, so if Sil, you don't have to worry about writing that down, I give it to you all the time. I know you always say who it is. Our board has been incredibly supportive of me and all my endeavors. They support all of my community involvement. They've allowed me to work on the missions that were important to me. They allowed me to be involved with my industry at the state, regional, and national level, allowing me to be a better CEO and providing me with opportunities to make my career interesting and rewarding. Many past and current board members are here tonight. Thank you all for giving me the best job on the planet. Great boards have great leaders. I'm blessed to have had 5 board chairs in my tenure. Cal Frost is here. He was my first board chair after I took the position. Paul Labonte couldn't make it. Lisa Thorne is here, so Lisa, I'm so glad you're here. Pat McHugh, some of you know, is flying somewhere warm, I believe. And John Giannetti, who you saw from the video, is our current board chair, and the continuation of strong leadership at Bellwether is all right there. Thank you for your leadership and your unwavering support. There's somebody I want to kind of point out who is not on our board, but is always maybe the heart and soul of our credit union, is Gloria Bouchard. She's a longtime executive. She'd been to the credit union before I got there. After she retired, I asked her to come back and be on the board, the supervisory committee, and she's always been there for me and the credit union. She's the first person I ever met at the credit union. She's an exceptional lady, an eloquent human being, a volunteer extraordinaire, a role model to me and others. And Gloria, I am so glad you're able to join us. Glad to share this evening. Bellwether's success, and certainly any individual success I've ever had, is due to the exceptional group of financial services professionals I work with. They're smart, committed, and over the last 20 years have made me look really good. And I picked up on that. You may have picked up on that given some of these comments. They understand the value proposition of a not-for-profit cooperative, and they work hard to maintain a culture of engagement and mutual respect in the workplace. They also embrace giving back to the communities we serve. If you have somebody on your nonprofit board or committee, you already know that. If you don't, then you have the opportunity to have somebody from Bellwether join your group. It'll be a win-win, I assure you. I offer a public and heartfelt thank you for all you've done for me and for our company. And while time certainly doesn't allow for me to name names, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention 2 longtime and invaluable supporters. One is Lori Aldridge. She was my administrative assistant for a bunch of years. She now heads up HR for our company. And she was there for me at some of the peak times when I was temporarily overcommitted in some of my volunteer work, home obligations, and professional obligations. After Lori took her position in HR, Janine Verville, who was mentioned earlier today, has been my partner She has been absolutely remarkable. If you've worked with me recently, you've asked me for something, I sent you the wrong thing. Janine is the one who sends you the right thing, and make sure that I don't overbook myself. Janine has recently also taken on new responsibilities. Her banking background allowed her to move over to business services for us. One of the things she said when she accepted the position was, I'd like to stay and support Mike while I take the position until he goes. Now, I was certainly touched by that. I don't know whether she was afraid I'd mess things up for the last few months of my career, or she'd just have to fix all the things I did wrong, but she has been and continues to be absolutely wonderful. Thank you both for being there for me and all the challenges and trials and tribulations that come with that. I've been very fortunate to have a very wonderful family. I've lived in an environment of unconditional support, and it's really, I realize I'm truly fortunate. I have family members here tonight. I have 2 brothers and sister-in-laws who are here, my daughter, obviously, and my wife. My dad couldn't make it. He thinks that our summers are cold. He lives in Florida, so he'd never come up for April. But you would recognize him if he was here. He would be the most surprised guy in the room tonight. And my brothers and my sister-in-laws pretty much get that. So, yeah, exactly. So I just realized my family's ready, so that's good. Anyway, my brother David does what I do. He's the CEO of a credit union in Central Mass. I benefited for years of having a trusted source as a sounding board about all things business. Somebody said, boy, that must make for very interesting Thanksgiving dinners. It does for him and I, but everybody else is like bored out of their mind. My other brother is Ron, nicknamed as Beef, is here. David and I are very proud of him. He just retired after a 30-year career as a police officer in Fitchburg, Mass. Absolutely. So he's retired from that. He is moving on to be a director of security with the company. And while David and I, older brothers, like to give, support and advice, so he's probably forgotten more about what we ever know about security. So we went down the executive track and we said, when you're executive, you got to play a lot of golf. Okay. When in doubt, you're probably not playing enough golf, and so you might want. I didn't do that at Bellwether, by the way. My brother does it at his credit union. I was always in the office. You've all had a chance to see my daughter, Christy. I see. So she wasn't sure it would be a Christine Day or a Christy Day. We don't know Christy. She certainly has been an inspiration, and certainly I wanted to do anything I could to make her proud. What parent wouldn't? But inspiration doesn't come naturally to her. That Dancing with the Stars piece that Janine had shown just before I was getting ready to do my, is it a routine? Is that what you call it? My routine. She pulls me aside. I thought she was going to give me like some inspiration. She goes, Dad, whatever you do, don't embarrass the family. Hopefully 4 and soon to be 5 years of school, she'll work on her delivery. Debbie and I had Christy a little later in life, and we were certainly at a point where the choices that we were making were not necessarily between right and wrong, but between good enough and the best I can do. I always feared, and I still fear, about settling for good enough. There have certainly been times when the best I can do fell short of my expectations, but I always knew that I did the best I can do, and that was the kind of the goal I set for myself. And to the degree that I've been able to share that with Christine, I'd be proud to be able to do that. My wife, Debbie, my soulmate, my partner, the giver of unconditional love and support for me and my family, certainly my Citizen of the Year, not just for 1 year, I guess it's been a little over 30 years, I know, has always put her family first. She said the other day at dinner, she goes, we're really having an adventure. We're on an adventure. And I agreed. And I'm happy to share tonight. I'm happy to share this recognition with you, and looking forward to the rest of our journey. Thank you, honey. I love you. Thank you. You guys not here the whole time? Okay. I'm very focused. That's the way I look at that. Thank you all again very much. Thanks to this group. Ellie, awesome job as always. I look forward to catching up with you at the dinner, at the dessert reception.
It's only fitting before we wrap up that we toast our new Citizen of the Year. I'd like to invite Arthur Sullivan, past Citizen of the Year of Brady Sullivan Properties, who's our Champagne Toast sponsor, to join me on stage, and we're going to do a quick toast.
Mike, you're such a special person, and it means a lot to me to be able to do this toast for you tonight. Uplifting, neighborly, noble, devoted, gracious, charitable. Mike, these are the words that describe you as you lead your fellow business leaders, your employees in our communities. And those who follow your lead then strive to also embody those powerful words: uplifting, neighborly, noble, devoted, gracious, charitable, because of you. And so tonight, we raise our glasses to you as you show us what it means to be a good citizen. Cheers, Mike Leclerc, our Citizen of the Year. Cheers. Cheers.
Thank you, Arthur. Cheers. Thanks, Arthur. Cheers. Thank you.
Okay, you guys are free. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our program for the evening. Please join us in continuing the celebration at our dessert reception sponsored by Auto Fair in the ballroom. Coffee and dessert will be available. The bar will be open. And we look forward to continuing to celebrate Mike. On behalf of the Chamber, thank you to our sponsors and for all your support. Have a great night. Safe ride home, everyone.